juncture, all the even the jammers are in place, because there's a high security zone at this juncture, a lot of police deployment. So indeed, Russian President Vladimir Putin, on his 2-day official visit to India, is now at the Rajghat to pay tributes, or floral tributes to Mahatma Gandhi. So indeed, we could expect there are a lot of diplomatic engagements lined up between the Russian delegation and the Indian side, and definitely there is a win-win situation for both the countries, and definitely there could be several MOUs signed between Russia and India in the domain of trade and defense, pharma, technological sector, and many other domains. Devika, back to you.
All right. Viewers, as we speak, live visuals on your screens of President Putin, who is now arrived at Rajghat to pay his respects to Mahatma Gandhi, to pay his respects at the memorial of Mahatma Gandhi. After this, we're expecting Prime Minister Modi and President Putin to meet at Hyderabad House for the 23rd India-Russia summit and discuss the deepening of economic cooperation, of defense, of energy and mobility of skilled labor as well. This will be followed by a joint press statement on the agreements and the shared agenda, after which both the leaders are scheduled to meet with business leaders of each other's nations. And we've been told that President Putin will be attending a banquet hosted in his honor by President Draupadi Murmu before his departure this evening. So that's roughly what's on the agenda. And we're expecting shortly after this visit to Rajghat, President Putin to, in a couple of hours, make his way to the Hyderabad House, as I mentioned, for those crucial conversations about the bilateral agreements. But on that note, let me bring back Major General Brajesh Kumar. Major General Brajesh Kumar, something really interesting happened yesterday, sir, where the Prime Minister, he's also posted about this, he presented a copy of the Bhagavad Gita in Russian to President Putin, and the Prime Minister wrote, "The teachings of the Gita give inspiration to millions across the world." What do you make of the decision to particularly gift the Bhagavad Gita to Putin? You know, we've seen a lot of state visits in India in the recent past, and of course the gifts that are exchanged are always a topic of conversation, but I can't recollect the last time a copy of the Bhagavad Gita was presented to a state leader. So what is the larger significance of this? You know, this is a man who's currently in war. His country, his nation's at war with another country. They've both sides have witnessed and experienced immense losses. So amidst that, the Prime Minister's decision to gift a copy of the Bhagavad Gita to President Putin, your thoughts on the same?
Devika, it is so apt, you know, that the copy of Bhagavad Gita has been, has been presented by the our Prime Minister to the visiting head of state of Russia. You know, Russia has been ravaged by war of its own accord last 3.5, 4 years. Bhagavad Gita talks of peace, wisdom and peace. Obviously, war is necessary. It also talks about, it's also written in Bhagavad Gita. You know, the Sandesh of Krishna Bhagwan to, Arjun is so very vivid in this matter. So to that extent, it's been a very fair one that, well, you had your fight and you must talk about peace. And also Prime Minister has said so in a number of occasions, when he was visiting Kiev, as also in Russia, that war is not a solution. And in today's environment, it is best avoided. So obviously, pushing them for a dialogue, pushing them to have a better sense being prevailed, and no loss of humanity which happening in 21st century is again very, very ghastly. To that extent, the wisdom of Bhagavad Gita, wisdom of our ancient tradition, wisdom of our virasat, wisdom of Hinduism per se, for which India is all about, very nicely summarized in Gita and very aptly presented by our Prime Minister to the visiting dignitary.
All right, I want to bring in Comrade Bhushan Devan's perspective on the same as well. Comrade Devan, your thoughts, on the selection of the gift to President Putin, particularly the Bhagavad Gita, and the Prime Minister also then posting a photograph of him presenting that Russian translation to President Putin.
Devika, actually, Prime Minister Modi has been presenting Gita to many world leaders for many years now. At this particular time, he has given Gita, which is written in Russian language. You know, giving a gift like that, a meaningful gift like that, is like sharing a part of Indian ancestral knowledge, ancient knowledge with the world. That is what India is. But of course, Gita talks about peace. Gita talks about Karma Yoga, that do work without attachment. But Gita also, Gita is part of Mahabharata. And Mahabharata is perhaps the first nuclear war which this earth has seen. When the time comes, it is only with arms you have to bring justice. It may not be done without that. So therefore, Gita, which is subset of Mahabharata, doesn't advocate that you keep suffering and don't take up arms. That's as a Kshatri and as a duty to protect yourself, your culture, society. You have to take to arms. To my mind, this is a message which, like Ob Sindoor, we have done it. Now, this again shows that keep on suffering is not the way to go forward. But it shows balance. It shows that each action which you take, you have to pay the price for it. So you have to, like they say, karma. Whatever karma you do, you will get results for that. So I think this is what India is all about. And this is, India is perhaps Mera Juta Hai Japani or Bollywood or yoga or Ayurveda, but in deeper sense, as a thought leader for the humanity, I think this is what Gita is all about. In fact, Einstein and Bertrand Russell have said coming centuries will all take to Hinduism. ISKCON is a big way in Russia one sees it. Why? Because ISKCON, again, ISKCON goes by Gita. The ISKCON, if you become a member of Gita, they give you a book, Gita as it is. So the point is this cultural affinity, apart from, personal chemistry, is the deeper bindings between the two countries. And that reinforces the deeper friendship and deeper understanding and hence cooperation in every sense, economic, trade, defense, and so on.
Right, absolutely. I want to bring back Major and Brajesh Kumar into the conversation. Major and Brajesh Kumar, another pertinent talking point of this particular visit, sir, is the mobility of skilled labor. We're talking about sending skilled labor from India to Russia. Your thoughts on that aspect as well? How critical is it for India to have these sort of discussions now with the rest of the world, given that we do have a lot of skilled labor in the country and we may not have we may not be in the position to create as much opportunity to work in India, but why not have those conversations with some of our friendly countries as well? We often talk about the mobility of skilled labor, but it's different when those conversations take place with a very friendly country like Russia.
Devika, we are the largest country with the largest population in the world today. Our growth rate of 6.8 to 7 may not be good enough to create that kind of an employment which we have. Our demographic dividend or demographic bulge, that's in the working age group of 19 to 40, is pretty huge. Imagine 40%, 35 to 40% of 144 crore people, that's what we have. That's on one side. On the other side, we have countries like Russia, Western Europe, Japan, which are dwindling population, aging population. The population in younger age is having difficulty to support the elder population. So that skewness is there, where therefore you find it quite a nice little fit. But for that, we probably have to have a trained set of people, and more importantly, which the government is getting on to in a big, big way, having a dialogue with these prospective countries, the entire Europe, Russia, Japan, and wherever else we can find our people to be absorbed. Indians have done well in that field. We all recall in the 70s, 80s, and thereafter, in the entire Gulf area where newfound oil became a big, big wealth. Our people from southern part of the world, specifically from Kerala, they went there and they added wonders. They've added wonders to their economy, and they also repatriate lots of resources and gold and money back home. And you can find the level of economic upliftment of our southern states per se. One of it is also credited to this kind of a thing. And look at our problem, especially in the cow belt of Uttar Pradesh, Bihar, Jharkhand, Chhattisgarh, Madhya Pradesh. We have streaming amount of millions of people looking for employment, retrained, reskilled, and sent there. It will be worthwhile. Very recently, we all recall in the Israel, aftermath of the war per se, we have sent people, our workers from UP and what have you, after the MOU was signed between the government of India and Israeli government to go and work there. So that is the model which we are looking at, and there is no getting away from it. And today we find that Russia is actually a war-ravaged economy, specifically, having been fighting for 3.5 years, 4 years now. Its petrochemical complex destroyed by tremendous amount of bombing from Ukraine. Its productive level people not being there, either being sucked in by the war, which has expanded, or have perished, either its fatalities or they've fallen sick per se. They're not able to contribute. And therefore, it's a big, big opportunity. And look at the expanse of Russia. Right from the Pacific Ocean and bang up to the Baltics per se. It's huge. It's the largest landmass we ever have. Of course, the living conditions are tough. It is pretty cold. But so be it. They have the largest amount of commodities. They buried wealth underground, whether it's petroleum, whether it's gas, whether it's minerals, you name a little thing, they have it. And therefore, with a hungry, and emerging India, looking for resources, looking for employment for its people, it can't be a better fit. It can't be a better fit. Yes, we'll retrade, we'll organize. And only that, we look back to our diaspora. Indians, even in the primitive conditions, that was in the 18th century, they've traveled, they went to Fiji, West Indies, South Africa, Mauritius, and Eastern Africa to contribute there economically. Of course, conditions were tough there. We picked up and sent there under an agreement, they call it the Girmitia labor by the British. But the only thing has changed, the difference is that it's 200 years later, they are much more organized, technology has made things convenient, people can go, work, come back, families can go, they get educated. And the other aspect is this education we're talking about. These countries, again, the Western Europe, the Russia, and Japan, and what have you, they have established training centers, both at diploma level and degree level. What stops us, or why shouldn't we be taking advantage of sending our people there to upskill themselves? People go there. People even go to China and Ukraine for their medical degrees, but they pay a lot of money to do that. Here, hopefully, if we have an agreement, I'm sure the government would be working at it, or somebody would be listening to it. It's a win-win situation again. People get educated and add value to the society wherever they are. And if they find it beneficial, stay put there. Labor mobility otherwise has been a very, very touchy subject across. If you recall the trouble in the Middle East,
Yes.
in Iraq and Syria and what have you, large number of their population have been to Europe, all over, and have created chaos, in terms of, bad mouthing, in terms of bad work. Indians, on the other hand, whether they are in America or in the Middle East, have been very, very disciplined workers. They have actually added value. And to that extent, the threat on that manner of proliferation, of capturing systems per se, or doing wrong things is not known to us. So therefore, we make a case for a perfect set of people, perfect set of immigrants to go and work and add value, make a
Yes.
decent level, add value there.
Right, absolutely. On that note, I thank both of our guests for joining us to take that conversation forward. Speaking of chaos, we have some